find all of WNUR Sports' content in one convenient place.
Aha! Why, I know where. Skedaddle over to WNURsports.com, your online hub for everything WNUR Sports.
How bodacious! What might one encounter in this magical digital destination?
Updated broadcast schedules, social media posts, articles, and everything your heart desires. So head over to WNURsports.com and find happiness.
Yes! Ha ha ha! Yes! Welcome back to Obscure Ballers. We have some WNU sophomores on today. I'm Tomas Moran.
Sid Sivaraman.
As always, your Obscure Ballers host. And today we've got, as I mentioned, some second years joining the fray from our class of 2028. If you care to introduce yourselves, although you've been on the airways before.
I've been fiending to come back. I've been fiending to come back. You probably know this face if you were an avid WNUR listener to the podcast or the radio shows last year. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Campbell. I was usually a regular on the Sunday Sports Block. Sometimes I was crazy enough to do all three shows. So I was sitting here.
Delighted to have you
I was
back.
sitting here in the
sports
interview
block
room
circuit.
for 2 hours, and some pretty nasty freshmen told me to stay out of the interview room for.
Gotta give them a chance.
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
give them
yeah.
a chance.
I gotta give him. I gotta give him.
Change for the next generation.
I gotta give him a
Matt Campbell.
chance. I gotta give him a chance.
There's
But
never gonna be another Mac Campbell.
hey, it's been a month and a half, man. I got the itch again. I got the itch to come back, so here I am.
Yeah, and this is my first time being on a show since my last time hosting back in the spring. Shout out on the clock with Charlie Jacobs. Maybe it'll see a comeback. Maybe it won't. We will see. But now I got my what's the word? Successors.
Yeah.
On the sport. On the
That
7
took
to
me
7
that took me way too long to think.
Following in their footsteps. Really.
Yeah.
Shout out journalism.
Yeah.
There we go.
Appreciate
There we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with our Obscure Ballers of the Week segment, which is basically just highlighting a player, anyone at all involved in sports that caught your eye this week in the world of obscurity. If anyone wants to get us started off.
Okay. In light of the volleyball game, which I was on the call for, go check it out on mixler.com/WNUR Sports. Shameless plug, I know, but still.
Huge.
Great broadcaster too.
Northwestern's OH1, Rylan Reed, is somebody that comes to mind as obscure. Maybe not obscure to the context of Northwestern, but definitely obscure in the macroscopic world of sports. And I'll tell a quick story. So one day, I'm working for Big Ten Plus. I was working the volleyball game against Michigan. And I come in with my handheld camera. I go sit on the bleachers, and the Northwestern roster comes out. And I'm looking out, and I'm like, okay, where's Rylan Reed? Where's Rylan Reed? Rylan Reed takes 45 minutes to come out the tunnel. Out she comes in a walking boot.
What?
And I'm looking around. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What? Come to find out, I don't know how. I don't know what happened. She didn't get hurt in the game, so it must have been practice or something. She sprained her ankle, did something, lower leg injury day to day. 2 weeks she's out. Friday she comes back on Halloween. Immediately, career high 27 kills.
Huge.
Today,
Jeez.
15 kills.
Huge.
42 kills over 9 sets. That's 4.67 kills per set. That would be third in the Big Ten. Third in the Big Ten. That's absolutely insane to come off of a leg injury. I don't know if it was a high ankle sprain, most likely because she wasn't a walking boot. But that's something to be praised. A volleyball team that doesn't get nearly as much recognition, but a volleyball team that's definitely on the rise and could see themselves crack the top 25 in a year or two.
Yeah, and you see this with a lot of Northwestern sports where it's like, the players at Northwestern, we give them a lot of coverage. We give them their flowers, but you look outside of the school and it's like no one in the Big Ten really thinks of Northwestern as a volleyball or that a volleyball player at Northwestern could be good. Anyway, I'll throw it back over to Charlie here.
Actually,
We'll have Charlie at the end.
Actually, yeah.
Do me at the end because
We'll run through.
trust, yeah.
So I will give a feature that is long overdue on Obscure Ballers, and that is the Northwestern cross country team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think Sports Night, you guys had a feature of them for a bit.
Yeah.
But just this week, they posted their best team finish at the Big Tens since 1986, placing third. They're now ranked number 8 in the country, which has been a climb.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were posted at 5 and they dropped down to 6, down to 7 and 8. They've clawed their way through beating ranked teams, ranked programs at meet after meet after meet. In this one, finishing ahead of number 20 Washington by 7 points, only behind Oregon and Penn State to finish third at the Big Tens. I mean, Ava Trinity, who's in my Watergate class.
Shout out Watergate.
Medill, you know what I mean?
Watergate.
You know what I mean? But
We didn't mention.
and Ava Earl, who from out of Girdwood, Alaska.
Wow.
How many times do you have an Alaskan leading your team? Placing 13th at Big Ten. So yeah, shout out to Northwestern Cross Country. Yeah, looking forward to them in the future.
Yeah. And I'll go ahead with my obscure baller of the week. You may have heard of a team called the Chicago Bulls. They're currently 5-0 for the first time since
You guys are losing
1996.
right now.
Yeah, it's the second quarter. All right. Yes, the Bulls are down by 8 right now to the Knicks in the second quarter. And by the way, the Bulls beat the Knicks on Halloween. But yeah, the Bulls are currently 5-0, first in the East, best start since the Jordan era. And lots of people are wondering why, right? Like, same players. In fact, if anything, Kobe White is out right now. So in theory, on paper, a worse roster. Same coach. Our rookies, or the Chicago Bulls rookies, aren't even playing, right? Very much. So it's kind of a mystery. And I think this obscure baller is a big reason why Trey Jones got traded from the Spurs to the Bulls as part of the DeMar DeRozan trade last year. He played 18 games for the Bulls last year. He started all 5 games. His numbers don't jump off the page. He's got 11.6 points a game, 6.6 assists, which is nice for your starting point guard, but not insane. He's second in the NBA with 2.4 steals per game. But the biggest thing about Trey Jones are the intangibles. Because on both offense and defense, he is absolutely running this team. He's their best perimeter defender. You could make a case for Josh Giddey perhaps, but, he's absolutely fantastic pickpocketing on defense. And then on offense, he absolutely runs everything. Everything runs through Trey Jones. And this Bulls team, you look at the numbers, right? It's only 5 games, but that's a pretty sizable amount of games in terms of, looking at numbers. And they're 5th in offensive rating. They're 6th in defensive rating in the NBA. I'm expecting those numbers to go back down to earth, right? I think everyone is. But at the same time, this is a Bulls team that, throughout the Chicago sports media landscape, everyone was saying that nobody was excited about them. Nobody expected them to do anything. It was going to be another mediocre, if not worse than mediocre year for the Chicago Bulls. And they started out strong, and no one was expecting this. And I think, Trey Jones, the point guard, is a big reason why.
I was talking to Pearson about this, and I believe Cy Trivedi was there. And I was telling him this Bulls team is almost like a reincarnation of the 03-04 Pistons teams that won an NBA championship.
I like that comparison.
With no stars.
You're gonna like that. You're a Bulls fan.
With no star. No, but
he's right.
Genuinely,
it's a good comp.
I think it's genuinely like one of the best comparisons you can draw to characterize this Bulls team. There's not like maybe Josh Giddey is one of the best all-around players in the league, but not
but
really.
There's no clear star.
There's no clear number one option.
Is it Josh Giddey? Is it Matas Buzelis? It's kind of unclear. Vucevic has been playing well.
Wait till the season gets into the depths, and then I'll probably. But no, you know what? I honestly, as a Bulls fan, you got to be happy.
Yeah, they're playing well, right? But Matt is right. There's no clear offensive, there's no clear star. There's like 6 guys that are averaging double figures. So yeah, it's really spreading the wealth over there in Chicago style of play. But we're gonna go ahead and kick it over to Charlie now, who is also going to use his obscure baller of the week to then transition over
into this.
If you guys want to introduce the next segment, because this might be like this will be very good for it because it'll be kind of
the deep dive. It's basically just going into a topic of interest and kind of really getting into the nitty gritty of that sports story. And Charlie and Matt both have one of those for us today. But yeah, Charlie, go ahead.
All right, so my obscure baller of the week. Only one name actually. It's just Donovan. And the reason I say Donovan is because this might be the guy's last name, it might be the guy's first name, but is the only player in NFL history to score for the Moline University Tractors.
What?
Moline, Illinois.
Moline Universal Tractors.
Moline, Illinois mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
33-3 lost Chicago Cardinals to the Moline Universal Tractors. And
shout out Quad Cities.
The reason I say that is because this gets shout out Quad Cities. Pearson and I actually drove through there going to Iowa State, but this goes into my whole topic of Scorigami. And while that was originally a Scorigami when it happened 33-3, it was actually one of those few games. It's one of the few games in NFL history, maybe the only game that we know of that was incorrectly kept on the scoreboard. I mean, at first it said 33-0, but with some deep diving, it actually ended up being 33-3 because in the Moline paper, it said Donovan made a field goal.
Okay.
Which is why it's 3.
Okay.
So
just Donovan. No last name.
Donovan. I think Donovan might be his last name, though.
Hey,
We don't
Landon
know.
Donovan.
you know, I
Nobody
feel like,
knows.
I feel like first name, like the fact that he
It might
only
be his
has
last
one
name, though. It
like
might be
it
his last
almost
name.
feels like mythical.
It's
or
like
biblical.
it's like Bill. Like when you
Yeah.
think of Bill, you just think of the running back on
Yeah.
Washington. Like that's what I think of when I think of Bill. But yeah, so going into Scorigami, this is something I love, and I'm a huge football fan. But really, Scorigami is whenever there's a score that happens for the first time in the NFL, it's a Scorigami.
Mhm.
So obviously, the first game I ever played, all the way back in the APFA era in 1920, was 48-0, and that one I actually believe. I think it has happened, but yeah, it's happened 7 times in history.
Mhm.
But the first time it happened,
Yeah.
there are some things called eternal scorigamis, which means it's only happened once ever. The most notable ones being 73-0, 70-20. There's also a 70-27 game, and then probably the most. I sent this text to you. The weirdest and craziest scorigami, the most unlikely that's actually ever happened, was one in about 3.2 million odds. 72-41. The Washington Redskins beat the New York Giants on November 27th of 1966. The Giants actually, in the 2 games after that, so actually that 72-41 game, before I go on, the only 16 touchdown game in NFL history, 113 total points. And the next week, the Giants were beating the Browns 40-28, allowed 3 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes, lost 49-40, which was another scorigami at the time. And the week after that, the Giants lost 47-28, which was another scorigami. So 3 eternal
Wow.
scorigamis in a row for the Giants that, I mean, they still stand today. And you go to the Scorigami website, you can see it all over. The highest scoring tie ever was 43-43. And actually, this season, we've had 2 scorigamis. We've had the 40-40 tie between the Packers and the Cowboys, which is one of the most unlikely to ever happen. And then the 41-40 win for the Bills against the Ravens, both on Sunday Night Football, actually. And there's some other ones I know. If you guys think of one of the greatest regular seasons game of all time, you think of that Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Rams, which was 54-51. That one was just absurd scoring. Obviously, I mentioned the 70-20. There have been, and I know there's one thing too. If you look at the scorigami chart, if you pull it up, there'll be weird sequence of black boxes near the number 1, and the reason for that is, but there's a white space in between 6 when it's winning team has 6 and the losing team has 1. The reason for that is because there is something in football called a defensive 1-point safety. And it happens on an extra point. It happens if the offense either kicking the extra point or going for 2 ends up having a safety against them. It's only 1 point. That's the only way to score 1 point in the NFL.
I'll tell you what, when someone scores a 1-point safety, they will be plastered all over the Obscure Ballers Instagram. Like they will be Obscure Ball of the Week ×4. Like we will build a shrine to whoever scores a 1-point safety. All right. Like we should open like a philanthropic foundation for whoever scores the 1-point
safety.
Like
Also,
Crazy.
another game that really should not have happened. The only game in NFL history that has ended with a team scoring exactly 4 points was a 10-4 game. The Racing Legion beat the Chicago Cardinals 10-4, November 25th, 1923. That's 2 safeties. There have actually been games with 3 safeties, but that just ends up being 2 field goals or a touchdown. And that was one that almost became a scorigami. There was actually almost a scorigami today between the Bears and the Bengals. It was very close to that. And
Shout out Loveland.
Another crazy fact. I'm going to keep going with this. The Broncos, 3 Super Bowls, all eternal scorigamis, and in 3 of those Super Bowls, all losses. One of them being that 43-8 loss to the Seahawks, and the other 2, I think Elway's Broncos lost 55-10 to the Niners, and another one was 39-20 loss to the Giants. But
do you think it's better or worse to lose a Super Bowl in a scorigami? Do you think it's?
I think it hurts a little bit more because you're on the losing end.
Yeah.
But and also a really fun fact. I want to see if you guys could guess what the 1,000th ever scorigami was, because this is a very infamous game. It happened on a Thanksgiving night.
Thanksgiving.
2012. Matt, you're a Jets fan. You should know
Thanksgiving
this.
2012.
The butt fumble. The butt fumble was the 1,000th scorigami. There've also been in the 2013 season, but they really happened in 2014 in the postseason. There were 3 eternal scorigamis, one of those being that Super Bowl between the Seahawks and Broncos. Another one, remember that Andrew Luck when they came back and beat the Chiefs down 28, the 3rd largest comeback in NFL history. That game was a scorigami, and then the next week, The Colts lost New England 43-22 for another Scorigami, but really, it's just like there's so much more I could talk about. It's so much fun, and actually, I want to see if you guys can guess the most unlikely score in NFL history. What it would be?
Mhm.
I mean, it's got to be
Other than something like crazy numbers, like that. That's really possible. 2-1's not possible, which means it's not
true,
that
that's
you
fair.
can't.
Oh.
Something that is
So-
technically possible.
I mean, I guess it would be like a
Like a low scoring
something
one?
to 1, right? Or like a
Yes.
1-1.
No,
I
that's
guess,
not
right?
possible.
3 to
10
1?
to 1.
10 to 1.
Really?
Do you know how to
Wait.
get to 10 to 1?
How do you get to 10 to
You
1?
do. No. You score a touchdown,
Right.
Yeah.
and the other team gets that 1 point safety, and then you get 2 regular safeties.
Oh.
So it's basically the touchdown plus the
Oh,
1
wait,
plus
because
4.
Because the 1-point safety only happens after you score a
on the
touchdown.
extra point.
and I'm
So-
gonna end off my segment by saying,
Oh my god.
and that's not just in the NFL. That's also adding in the FBS because there have been 1 point safeties in the FBS before.
Has 6-1 ever happened?
I'm not sure. I didn't go into that. But in the FBS, there has been a 222-0 game.
What game was that?
222 was
Wait.
Georgia Tech versus Cumberland University.
That makes so
Yeah.
much
There've
sense.
also been, I think Houston once beat Rice 100-6.
Wow.
But But yeah, but before I send this off to
That's
Matt, I'm sorry if
insane.
I've taken a little bit extra
No,
time.
I think we're
But-
good.
You're all good.
But
It's worth it. It's worth it.
the odds of a 10 to 1 game happening are approximately 18.5 or approximately 1 in 18.5 trillion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely more
So
likely
in
to get struck by
the
lightning.
year like 30 million,
And this-
whenever
so
when
this-
we're all like in our whatever state of our bodies, when we're
17776.
When we're like fossil fuel, like, like
when
we turn into like
when people
petroleum.
when people are naming their kids George Washington, and everyone's like, oh my god, that's a great name. I've never heard that before. But yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
that's Scorigami for you, and shout out Donovan.
Yeah.
Shout out Donovan. All right, Matt, please go ahead.
That's tough to follow up, man. That's such a fun topic.
And, and before I say it's in a sport that everyone feels like they know a lot about, but and I
Yeah.
know for Obscure Ballers you always do random sports. I know Gabe came on and talked about something with
speed
like
climbing. Yeah.
speed climbing.
Yeah.
But it's like
You
such a
did
niche
cricket,
but it's a
part
niche
of
but this
our-
is like-
of like the most
I
popular
mean,
sport in America.
oh my god, yeah, exactly. And football also did overtake baseball, and
Yeah.
part of that was, and you know, Pete Carroll actually knows about Scorigamis. That's another thing. He's
I
like,
mean, that
oh my,
makes sense.
no, but
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, they're like, oh, it's a unique score. He's like, oh my god, really? That's so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know
feel
how
like
that
if
keeps
anyone would
happening.
know
No,
that.
but it's like the kind of thing
In
that
the
like
20
football purists.
Yeah,
like
in the
football-
2010s,
Yeah.
in the 2010s, Pete Carroll Seahawks had the most Scorigamis of any team.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's interesting how many like interesting games were
And
Scorigamis.
there were
Oh,
two
yeah.
this,
About it.
there were two this year that
Yeah.
are not normally happening. 40-40 tie. For I mean, there's another
Yeah,
topic.
that's
There should not be
actually
ties in
crazy.
football anymore. But
Hey,
That's
anyway.
another
0-0
topic.
Great Lakes Navy Northwestern.
I
That's
love
my favorite
0-0.
tie.
Great Lakes Navy Northwestern. What year was that?
1918.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
18.
it was-
Wait, what?
Yeah.
1918.
Yeah,
1918.
because it was so muddy and foggy that they just couldn't score. They just couldn't score.
So stupid.
Yeah, I mean we'll
Go ahead,
we'll
Matt,
send
please,
it to you.
please.
Give you the time you deserve.
All right. I also went with a major sport. I went with baseball because, of course,
Shocker.
you captain the baseball team. I have to. Club baseball team. Let me say that. So I went with baseball. With baseball. And I got the wheels churning a little bit. The Vlad Guerrero performance in the World Series had me thinking, what's the coolest home run stat in baseball? Of course, it's 4 home runs in a game.
4 homers.
There have been 21 players in Major League history that have hit 4 home runs in a game.
Mhm.
6 of them are Hall of Famers.
Mhm.
Only one of them has hit 4 home runs in a game while going 5 for 5, knocking in 10 runs on his birthday.
Okay.
Do we have any guesses? I know you know who he is, so shut your mouth.
I
Do
do.
you have any guesses?
I'm at a loss.
I have no
I
idea.
couldn't tell you, man.
I have no idea. Is it that guy who was on the A's, the rookie?
Nope. Pretty close, Nick Kurtz, but it's pretty recent. His name is Scooter Jeanette.
I've never heard of that guy.
That makes so much sense.
Scooter.
I'm gonna explain why. Scooter Jeanette was essentially a nobody for the Milwaukee Brewers because
I just don't know.
one, nobody here likes the Milwaukee Brewers, especially Pearson over there in the
No,
control
no one
room.
does.
There's
No one
nothing likable about the Brewers,
Yeah.
especially after the Jacob Mizorowski All-Star appearance after having 5 appearances in the major leagues. But that's another gripe for another day. This guy was a career 286 hitter. This guy wasn't really a scrub. He was just unknown.
Mm.
He gets traded to the Reds in 2017. And all of a sudden, this guy explodes. 27 home runs, 97 RBIs. In the year 2017, How this guy wasn't an all-star, I don't know. A lot of that explosion came in the second half of the year.
I
But the
believe
year
it,
after,
yeah.
2018, 23 bombs, 92 RBIs, probably the best second baseman in all of MLB, and even 3 wins above replacement and a ridiculous 125 OPS plus. I don't know how to characterize that stat because as a second baseman, as an undersized second baseman, mind you, this guy is 5'10", one of the shortest players in Major League
Really?
Baseball, one of the shortest players in all of the sport. An OPS plus of 125 is like Josh Donaldson
Yeah,
levels
yeah,
of
yeah.
production. That's like Nick Kurtz
Like
levels of
that's like all
production right
that's
now.
all star.
That's
All-star
like
lock.
all-star lock. Like the best second baseman in all of baseball. The next year, this is why he's so obscure. This guy falls off a cliff. I don't know what happened, but
Huh.
3 consecutive years negative WAR. In total, Scooter Gennett has cost teams the last 3 years of his career. Scooter Gennett has cost his teams 2.5 games. It's tough to do.
Really?
Had a
My
groin
God.
injury in 2019 when he was traded to the Giants,
Mhm.
and in his own words, came back earlier than he was expected to. But after that, it was a pretty down year. He had 234. I don't think he went deep. He had 5 RBIs. He had 2
But
bombs,
it's the memories.
but
It's
it's
the
the
memories.
memories, dude. In the history of Major League Baseball, I just want to go down and tell you how ridiculous this is. Lou Gehrig was the first ever player to hit 4 home runs in a game, which is okay, yeah,
Well,
whatever.
he's Lou
But go
Gehrig.
down, yeah, but he's Lou Gehrig. But let's go down the list. You have Josh Hamilton, Nick Kurtz, who just did it this past season, Gil Hodges, Willie Mays, Mike Schmidt, JD Martinez, Eugenio Suarez, and Kyler Schwarber, who have all done it. And you would think, right? Maybe one of those guys like went off, had 5 for 5, one of the anomaly games. No, this short 5'10" second baseman that plays for the Cincinnati Reds, one of the most irrelevant franchises in all of baseball.
Born in Cincinnati.
No,
He was born in Cincinnati.
no hate, Sid. But one of the most irrelevant, just nothing franchises outside of the names of Jay
I
Bruce
mean,
and Joey
yeah,
Votto
yeah. This is true.
has, in my opinion, the most insane game from an offensive standpoint. The greatest game of all time. Actually, insane.
Now, something kind of fun about Scooter Gennett. He got his nickname Scooter from Muppet Babies. I don't know if you're familiar with the series.
We're
I
scrubbing
did
the
know
Scooter
that.
Gennett
Well, because
wiki.
his name is Ryan Joseph, right? That's like his birth name. But he's known as Scooter because his mother, as a child, took him to the local police precinct to because he would constantly unbuckle his seatbelt, right? And so his mom wanted to show him, wanted to demonstrate, hey, you really got to buckle your seatbelt. So she took him to a police officer and was like, officer, could you please tell my son how important it is to buckle your seatbelt? And the officer asked the young Jeanette for his name. And in response, Ryan Joseph Jeanette said, my name is Scooter Jeanette. And his mother said, please tell him your real name. And he refused. He was like, no, I'm Scooter. I'm Scooter Jeanette. And that's where his nickname comes from.
Wow.
Yeah, Muppet Babies. Shout out.
Yeah.
What
Um,
is it with these Major League Baseball
It-
players and
it-
refusing to wear seatbelts? Quick anecdote. No. Quick anecdote because it comes to mind.
Sure, go
Bryce
ahead, go ahead.
Harper, when he was 16 years old, young Bryce Harper, who went first overall in the draft, ends
Oh.
up getting pulled over by an officer. I think he was on his way to his Sports Illustrated shoot. He gets pulled over by an officer for speeding without his seatbelt on, and he doesn't get a fine, doesn't get a ticket, doesn't get anything. You know what this guy does? This guy takes him to the local morgue. And shows him dead corpses of
No, bro.
people who
That's
died in car
insane.
accidents. Sick.
That's like in
That's
Ratatouille. The
20
scene where
minutes
like
later,
the
this guy
dad
is
rat
doing a
shows
shoot.
them the rat
Okay,
poison himself.
okay. No, yes, but that's insane in itself. But when you realize that this guy was the number one prospect in all of baseball, no, not high school prospect, like
Like
all of baseball, including the Golden Spikes Award winner that year.
yeah.
The number one prospect in all of baseball, about to do a shoot for Sports Illustrated before NIL was even a thing. Like genuinely like a B-list celebrity. He gets pulled over, taken to the morgue to look at corpses before he gets on
This
a
is
world famous newspaper.
This was like a police
That's
officer who did
nuts to
this.
me.
This is like a police officer who took him there.
Yes, bro.
You imagine being the number one prospect in like the world of baseball, and you get pulled over one day, and the officer goes, "I'm taking you to the morgue."
I don't even know what's going on. Where am I?
It's actually
No,
crazy.
no. Okay.
All right, we'll move on to
what a
our.
tangent.
Thank
I
you
think my
for
grandpa
that
had
deep
a
dive.
Elite
All
tangent.
right,
Elite
we're
tangent.
gonna quickly run through our obscure game. This week's obscure game is Sideline Stars. Okay, because sports are so much more than the people on the field. So we're gonna tell a story, each of us, of one of our favorite obscure non-athletes. So we're talking, mascots, nutritionists, athletic trainers, front office, like literally anyone. I'll quickly get us started. So Brandon Ashton was the Manchester City team manager for 15 years. He started working for Man City as a 16-year-old. He's from Manchester. He grew up there. He's been a fan his whole life. Okay, he's a pretty unassuming looking guy. He just looks like average guy from Manchester. He's bald. Not particularly tall. But the players love him. The players loved him so much. There's this documentary called All or Nothing Manchester City on Amazon Prime, and it's so they interview him a lot, and his job was clean the cleats, do the laundry, make sure that their jerseys are ready, that kind of stuff, right? But he basically was a member of the team, right? He would celebrate with the team in the locker room after winning games. He would be in the huddles, in the locker room. He was very much, he was at training every single day. He was at the training facility. He would eat meals with the players. And one of their favorite traditions while he was at Man City was whenever Pep Guardiola's side won a trophy, they would slide him across the locker room in his underwear. They would just slide him all
Show
around.
him this photo
They
that
would
has just
slide him
entered my
all
eyeballs.
around.
I don't know if this is
we're
appropriate,
gonna keep
actually,
it off the Obscure Ballers
on second thought,
video,
editorial
but
consent is
Vincent Company would just slide him around the locker room in his
why not?
underwear.
Why not?
Or Sergio Aguero or whoever, right?
Yeah.
So crazy times over in Manchester. After 15 years, he went on to become the business development manager for the Northwest region at MPH Sports. So he went to get a job in the world of
the normal
sports administration
people.
and management.
Yeah.
But absolute legend,
Yeah.
Brandon Ashton.
So my sideline stars are kind of almost like obscure ballers because it's timely with the World Series. The World Series had a lot of extra innings. In this, there are a lot of extra innings in this World Series. I don't know if you saw during the big long 18-inning Game 3, right? But I think it was in the 16th inning or whatever. But both teams come out with plates of cut fruit
Yeah, I saw
for the
that.
players to eat.
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
So
I know where this is going.
So my two sideline stars are Tyrone Hall and Katarina Domino,
Yes!
the nutritionists for
Yep.
the Blue Jays and Dodgers.
Yep.
And this is just a shout out for
shout out.
This
Orange
series
slices,
was so long. Yamamoto had to pitch 18 innings or something like that, across the entire series. It was nuts.
insane.
Can we quickly talk about Yoshinobu Yamamoto and how insane this guy is?
Of course.
This guy pitched how many complete games in the playoff? 4?
Yeah.
Including 2
insane.
in this World Series, and
Insane.
then proceeds to come out in Game 7.
But hey, you need
No,
orange
they have
slices.
to throw
You
it
need
90
watermelon
That's where
slices.
those orange
Okay,
slices
that's
come
insane.
in. And I just want to say,
you need some fresh fruit.
I just want to take a look at the two different spreads because they came out with two different spreads. The Dodgers came out with this
It was a bucket almost.
No, it was a bowl. It was a bowl of fruit with
Yeah.
some grapes, some strawberries, pineapple. There's some watermelon in there. But the Blue Jays had
It was
this really
all
nice
and cut.
cutting board.
Nice and
It was
cut, yeah.
so I think in this one, Domino and the Blue Jays have the Dodgers beat. Even if it didn't result in a favorable game. Well, they did win. No.
Game 3 was the Freddie Freeman walk-off.
Yeah. So even if it didn't result on the field, they had the presentation skills.
But anyways, y'all go ahead.
Yeah.
Run
Quick.
through
Yeah.
Okay.
My
My obscure fan / baller of the week is Marlins man.
Oh, I think I know.
And this connects back. We're talking about the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, yada. But this connects back to the Yankees because Derek Jeter also gets involved. So, a Miami lure by the name of Lawrence Levi, however you pronounce his last name, has been buying tickets to Marlins games for 25 years. He's in a recognizable Marlins jersey. Marlins man wears number 1 on the back of it. It's their classic orange jersey. And he shows up everywhere. He shows up to Marlins games. He shows up to Cubs games. He shows up to every playoff game. The World Series. Shows up to the finals. Shows up to
everywhere.
the Super Bowl. He's
everywhere.
literally everywhere. And somehow, someway, the hard cam is always on Marlins man. Every single time. He's always in the background of every single major event you could think of.
Shout out
So
Marlins.
fast forward. year one. What year was this? 2018. Year one of Derek Jeter's tenure in Miami. He has a preseason town hall with all the season ticket holders. Doesn't even know who this guy is. Marlins man. Why would he not? He's the greatest shortstop of all time. Why would he care about a Florida lawyer, right? Turns out this guy is the biggest Marlins fan of all time. And everything goes downhill. Marlins man is negotiating with this guy to pay $200 for his season tickets instead of $250. Jeter says no, and then he negotiates to ride in his Marlins Manoville, whatever the hell it's called. Um, Jeter says, "Oh, I will not be riding in that." Marlins man walks away and he's like, "I'm so disgruntled with this front office. I will not be renewing my season tickets. I hope this team has a winning season in their lifetime." There's a funny quote that I can't put up here, but I wish I could. So this guy shows up to game 3 of the World Series, and we're watching, me and Pearson Side and Jonah are watching in one of the rooms in the suite in Kemper, and none of us noticed until literally the 9th inning. And I'm like, dude, that's Marlins man in the background. How the hell do we not
He's
catch
always
this?
there. He's always watching.
He's always there. He's always watching. But,
Well,
All right. Charlie, do you want to shout someone out really quick? Just shout out a name.
someone
Well,
Shout out
it
a
was
name.
it was actually not a
Yeah.
name. I mean, originally I was gonna make a joke and say the people who founded the Moline Universal Tractors, but actually the $5 bits of broken chair trophy between Minnesota and Nebraska. I'm gonna shout that out.
Yeah.
Shout
And-
out. Shout
We'll
out.
feature
Yeah.
on the next Instagram post for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what a show, guys.
Yeah,
as
Donovan.
always, two phenomenal tangents on our deep dives.
Yeah.
We'll leave some time for her take to maybe get some stuff out. I don't know.
All
But
right.
We will see you guys next
Absolutely.
week.
Thank you to
in
Charlie
the
Jacobs. Thank you to
OACR,
Matt Campbell.
7 to 7:30 on YouTube and 89.3
Let's go, Knicks.
FM.
Let's go
I'm
Bulls.
Sid Sivaraman
Let's go
with
Knicks.
Tomas Moran. We'll see you next week. Stay sick out.